Hi everybody, welcome to my Sims 4 Desert House build. I'm really new to The Sims 4 actually, I will say right now that if you've got any tips or tricks of things that I ought to be doing, leave them in the comments below. I'm really new to The Sims 4. I downloaded it about, I don't know, a few days ago into this quarantine. I was playing The Sims 3 and building pretty extensive stuff on there. Never uploaded anything to, YouTube or any public sphere. So, yeah, but here I am, stuck at home just like everybody else. So, this desert house here that I'm building was inspired by a series of pictures that I saw on Tumblr. I've always really liked the aesthetic of the desert. I really love New Mexico. In Arizona, and I wanted to build something that might be out there that a rich person might live in the desert. I deleted one of the bigger lots in the Sims 4 base game. Oh, I should say right now that this is the base game. There is no custom content, no expansions at all. Everything you see me use in this build is from the base game. So, the first thing I do is I like the idea of a house on a mesa, so as you can see, I did some mess with the terrain tools, and made a little mesa with some steps. I do increase the size of this later, so if you're, following along or doing anything like what I'm doing, just know that you're going to need more space than you think you do. I'm not great at landscaping in The Sims or in real life, so that's another reason I like the desert aesthetic is lots of minimalist landscaping. You will need testing cheats on for this build. I will say that if you are actually going to, have Sims live in this house, everything should be livable with a couple exceptions that I will point out along the way. Firstly, I built this little porch here, and I try to do those little stepstones that people have, but I didn't like how the tiles were placed, so I just did my own here. Oh yeah, resizing the objects, that's another thing. I didn't know that you could do that. I don't know if you can do that in The Sims 3, maybe you can. But I did it here for the rocks, which I will be moving anyway. Like I said, I expand the size of this house later, so don't get too attached. I wanted this to be as short as possible. I only increased the foundation by just the one. I didn't want this to sit on a huge, what's the word, deck or foundation or anything. Most desert houses lie pretty flat. Not a lot of risk for flooding on top of a mesa. I went ahead and put the deck more or less all together. As you can see, I do come back and mess with this a little bit later. I like using big glass windows when I'm doing any sort of desert house build, because you want to let in as much sunlight as possible. And it's, super modern, and I don't normally go for a lot of modern looking houses. Basically every house that I build is a Victorian mansion, so I'm really trying to expand my repertoire here. Oh yeah, this mission style wall or whatever this is called in the game, I'm not a big fan of huge fences like these, just because they're really kind of, in my opinion, bulbous and ugly, but it really works here. Because when you're building something in the desert or in what was historically Spanish territory, you will see a lot of mission style things, and I do use a lot of the game's preset mission style objects, including the lights and the fence. So, yeah, as you can see, I didn't make this house big enough for what I wanted. And if you wanted to, like, a tiny house version of this, I'm sure that you could. I had other plans. Oh, another thing that I do, and maybe this is, like, cheating, if I'm gonna build a house, and I'm not sure how big the room needs to be, I'll put in an object in the room. Maybe everybody does that. I don't know. I need to watch more builds myself. I'm still not really happy with this side deck over here. I like the idea of it. I forgot what I did at the end here. I remember not being happy with the end result. I wanted this whole house to be really like a clean look. All the walls are going to end up being white, which again is not something I usually go for at all. Even in my real life. My bedroom as a child was pink and purple. I like bright colors, but you know, you gotta expand your palette here. Oh yeah, I had some trouble with the cabinets for a second here because, like I said, I'm new to this. I just recently found out that you can do like outer corner and things like that in The Sims 4, which I think is a really great addition. I know I'm, you know, giving my critique on a game that's already 4 or 5 years old at this point, but oh well. I increased absolutely everything, including the actual Mesa itself. More trouble with the cabinets. I don't know. Maybe I'm just inept. That's very likely. The fence that I put in earlier, there's no real rhyme or reason to this. I put the fence where I did, you know, thinking in real life, would somebody fall off of this fence? Or fall off of this mesa without a fence to stop them? And if the answer is yes, then I put it there. I'm not happy with these windows. And again, there's no custom content in this house at all, and maybe if there was, I could find the windows that I wanted. There's lots and lots of plants in this house. I love plants in a house, especially in The Sims. It adds a lot of color. I moved this living room around quite a bit. I'm not even sure that I was happy with the final product. And you can see me really not being happy with the doors. I think I come back to the doors a couple times in this build. So I expand the eastern edge of this house. Is this east? I don't know. Are there directions in The Sims? Because I wanted there to be a formal dining room. And I had a lot of fun with what I'm about to do here. I really wanted like a bay window kind of look. And unfortunately, I couldn't, the bay windows that they have, are very Victorian looking, or like a craftsman style home, and I wasn't super happy with that. I wanted like a more modern look to it. So you can see like pauses in the build as I look up things on my phone, trying to remember how to do things. So and again, I didn't know that you could do a lot of these things, which is glad that I learned. You can increase the height of objects. So these bay windows are not usable. Like I said, I point out the things that won't be usable if you were actually to put Sims in this house, and this is one of them, unfortunately. So what I ended up doing was, after, struggling with coffee tables and whatnot, I end up putting half walls in. You can see me experiment with different objects, just trying to find a thing that fits. I put a half wall in and a coffee table, which I didn't end up needing on the other side. And then I just put these ottomans, and just put them right up against the wall so they look really like cushions. And then on the other side, I do the same thing, but without the coffee table underneath. Just because you ended up not seeing it at all anyway. Didn't seem necessary. And I wanted these built-in shelves to go like all the way out. But again, not something that I know how to do just yet, if that is even an option. Again, let me know if there's anything I can do, any tips or tricks I ought to know. Okay, so now I just start decorating, and I just throw whatever crap I can onto these shelves. It doesn't matter. If you are going to build something like this, you can put whatever you want in this house. I just, go to the decorations tab and put whatever clutter I find that looks mildly interesting. I will say that if you do like the wall cutaway that I have here, and if you turn the walls completely off, this is going to look really strange. So prepare for floating bowls of fruit and whatnot. And I stretched that half wall all the way across just to make it look a little bit more uniform. I really like these wall lights, actually. These mission style wall lights. I think they're really neat. I was thinking that maybe you could like lower the height of objects if you can raise the height of them, but maybe you can, maybe you can't. It's a formal dining room, but what I was going for was, like almost like a kotatsu table where you all sit underneath it. Very low-lying table, but wasn't able to make that happen. But I ended up doing this more traditional look anyway, and I do like it. And of course, lots and lots of plants. I love cacti, so I put them all over this house. A thing to consider if you are decorating, and this applies to real life and not just The Sims, if you're decorating, you want to stay as consistent as you can in your choice of color in your wood patterns as well. So for this whole living room, I wanted to go with like a darker wood color. Because if you have a lot of different colors of wood, it looks a little cluttered. It looks like you pieced it together at the last minute. Which, not that that's a bad thing, but if you really want to, get into interior decorating. And there are a few exceptions to this. Sometimes if you want like a dark and light wood combination deliberately, like in the kitchen here, I've got these dark windows with lighter color shelves. And a thing that maybe you can do in Sims 4, I'm not quite sure yet, we'll find out, is like vaulted ceilings, and you can get that look. You can achieve that look if you have pointed ceilings, and and no rooms above, but I wanted like the exposed beam look that a lot of older houses, especially like Spanish revival style homes or even like cabins have. And I wasn't quite able to get what I wanted. So what I ended up doing was taking these floating shelves and placing them around the perimeter of the entire main room. And I think it ended up it looks pretty cool. Again, if you do the wall cutaway, it looks a little weird, so just don't do that. No, I'm kidding, but it looks a little strange without all the walls up. But if you are, I prefer the cutaway view even when I'm playing with Sims. I know some people play with the walls all the way up or all the way down. I didn't want to put too many things in either of these bedrooms. Oh, I had some camera problems there. And you can see me really struggle with like curtains and things. I just wasn't able to find something that I liked. Maybe if you've got custom content, you could find curtains that you like. So, like I was saying, I tried not to clutter up either of these bedrooms too much. And if you're gonna have Sims actually live in here, then you could put, hobby-related objects in here, or if it's a kid's room, put a kid's bed and toys and whatnot. But I wanted them to be very nice and simple. I had a lot of fun with this bathroom too. Bathrooms are always like, I'm not ever really sure what to do when I design bathrooms like this, so I did have fun trying to put this all together. They give you a lot of options for like decorating up a bathroom. I remember playing Sims 2 back in the day when I was like in middle school, and bathrooms are like toilet, sink, bathtub. Or maybe they weren't, and I was just a dumb child, but either is possible. And then here's the other bedroom. I didn't really have a master or not master bedroom in mind. Either one could be considered master bedroom. I don't think it matters. Okay, so the one thing that this house didn't have, because I wanted it to be very open floor plan, because that's, all the rage these days, is an office. So I kind of made a little office space out of this spare corner in the main room where probably I wasn't going to put anything anyway. And so it's just 2 desks and a corner cabinet, which I think, in a real life application would be a useful or a productive use of space. Lots of extra room to spread out with. And I wanted these like corner cabinets like upper maybe as a storage, but I didn't. They expose the dishes, and this isn't the kitchen, so I ended up not going with it. But I did put bulletin boards up here. The first one that I put up was the one with all the stuff on it, which looks really, cute if you've got people living in here. But when I, zoomed out and looked at all of it, it looked kind of messy. So I replaced it with the blank corkboard. And you can put whatever you want on the walls, of course. If your Sim's a painter, I put an easel in the house. So if your Sim's a painter, they can paint whatever they want. Yeah, and I think the corkboard there looks a lot cleaner. So now I'm just adding some extra touches here. Rugs and whatnot, and you can see me go back to the back deck here again and again. I will say I don't like on The Sims 4 that you can only have one window per level. I think that's really weird. And maybe you can. Sorry for the cut there. I thought my software stopped recording, but we're all good. And maybe there's just not enough room on the back deck. I thought about adding a grill. I never really settled on anything. A lot of desert-looking houses have a flat roof. Like a totally flat roof, which is fine. I remember that in The Sims 2 and 3 being a very popular choice. I ended up just making these sloped, just very not steep at all. And you can do whatever you want here if you like the flat roof look. I just wanted to give it some texture. I love the roof trims addition on The Sims 4. That it makes it really finishes off the look of a house, especially compared to Sims 3. And you can just see me put more and more cactus in. And, you know, if you really wanted to add like a back door from one of these bedrooms and have their own little private balcony out here overlooking the neighborhood, then you could. I thought about it. I just wasn't sold on the idea. So there's the finished house. I do add more stuff down here on the bottom, and you know, if you wanted to put a pool or a fountain or something, lots of houses in the desert do have pools. If you wanted to put a pool in or whatever, then you could, or another living space down here. So here's the finished product. I think it looks great from the outside. And that was always my issue when I was building houses on Sims 3, was they looked really unfinished on the outside. And landscaping does help with that. I'm just, again, not very good at it. And I think the inside has a really nice, unified look to it. So I'm just going to brag on myself there. And there it is. So, if you enjoyed this, feel free to copy the design. It is not copyrighted at all. It's, again, based on a picture I saw on Tumblr. If I missed anything, if you have any tips and tricks for me learning to build on The Sims 4, please leave me a comment, like and subscribe, all that usual jazz. So, thanks for watching, and I'll do lots more builds while we're all stuck in quarantine together. Stay safe out there.